We're rolling. Here we are
All right.
at Studio 54th Street in Oakland. This is at my apartment. David Barrett here from Entertainment Getaway TV, and I'm going to have these guys introduce themselves.
Yeah, I'm Apocalypse Now, the guitar player and founder of the band Face Reveal.
And I am Tim, the incredible musician. I play bass and I do vocals, and I'm also the co-founder of Face Reveal.
Right on. And did a show with these guys in Livermore, and tell the people what the sound is and what inspired you to come up with the name first. It's always about a name. What's behind the name of Face Reveal?
Well, when we were coming together as first a band, it was really hard for us to kind of decide exactly what kind of name that we wanted to come up with at the time. So before we even came out to that point, we just started experimenting with song ideas and playing as a band all together. I mean, it's not only just us. I mean, we had somebody that was filling in for drums who's a friend of ours, and we have a second bandmate who's currently on the other side of the country just for work and that, but he also would play guitar with us as well. And right at the time we were ready to make a name, we were just cycling what sounded the best, and some of them were kind of iffy, some of them didn't really ring true with it. And then our buddy who was on drums at the time goes how about Face Reveal? And when we heard that, we're like, that actually sounds good. That's not bad.
Light bulb went off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, we just stuck with it. And I guess with Face Reveal, it just has a kind of a meaning of something you always don't want to be judging things by a cover in a way, or as the old saying, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Because some things don't always appear to be what they seem in a way.
Absolutely. And I think to an extent the idea of Face Reveal is that you do not know what's behind the masked identity of the artist that is us band members, and we just really wanted to create that mysterious vibe, yet create something of rock metal genius. And above all, I think we just want to connect with audiences and people around the world on our music and share our stories and our experiences.
Yeah.
Right on. From what you brought up, that's what I was thinking. It has a mystery behind it. It makes you think right away before you even hear a tune on going, wow, I got to know what's behind that name. That is that mysterious element. So that's really cool. And how would you describe the sound, if you could, of what you guys do?
First, we kind of started off as mixing a bunch of different styles of music that we were into. Mostly it was all majority of hard rock and metal, and had some elements of punk and pop punk in there as well too.
Yes.
Because we're just into whatever we liked listening to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if in a more influential standpoint, I mean, we'd be into bands Metallica, Green Day, Sum 41, Guns N' Roses, or there was a band that me and Tim listening to called Alter Bridge as well. They were a band that came after Creed with a different singer.
Yep.
Yeah, and also Bad Religion was another big one. And our other guitar players into Exodus and Machine Head, Testament, Death Angel. And
Nice.
I'm a huge fan of the Avenged Sevenfold as well, metalcore, all that. As a guitar player, so I'm always just love playing stuff like that too.
And our original drummer, he liked a lot of the power violence music, so I think Violence was one of them.
There's a couple
as well too.
Well, Bad Religion's more regular punk. I mean, some of the power violence bands that he'd be into, this one called Infest. They're popular in the Bay Area. Or there was another band he listened to called Lack of Interest as well. And there are just so many bands that we played with around Oakland area as well too, in the power violence scene, with another band that I was in, and yeah.
Cool. I like all those bands that you talk about. I grew up, I'm more of an 80s guy, so definitely the Exodus, Death Angel.
Yeah.
But 90s, I definitely got into more what was labeled as new metal, but a lot of stuff like Disturbed and Static X, Fear Factory.
Oh yeah,
Orgy
he's
is a
into
big
all
one.
that there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, on the topic of Disturbed, I actually got to meet David Draymond 2 years ago. I
Oh,
was
nice.
working a show at the Toyota Amphitheater up in Wheatland, which is north of Sacramento. It was Disturbed, Breaking Benjamin, and one other act. I can't remember who the third act was. But I was working as a dishwasher for that particular show. And I was just finishing my lunch break, and on my way back from my lunch break, I had to pick up this tray of dishes that I was going to have to carry into the kitchen and wash in the sink. And there was this gentleman, a bald-haired gentleman, and I didn't know who it was at the time. So I was saying, like, excuse me, sir, on your left. And he says, no worries, dude, you're all good. And then when he said those words, I'm like, holy crap, this is a guy I freaking idolized as a kid.
Yeah.
That's David freaking Draymond.
Yeah.
And-
what a fantastic
And of
singer.
course.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a very humble rocker as well. I mean, he
Yeah.
really, really cares about his fan base.
Yeah. I actually have another story of like unexpectedly meeting someone in like the rock and punk community as well.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I think I know
there
which
was-
one this is.
Yeah, yeah. So like one time I was playing with another band. I was playing in another band that I was playing in the Powervine scene, named it Ingest, and we were the opening act, and there were three other bands after us over at 924 Gilman Street, and the last band went on. They were like running through their set, and all of a sudden, who of all people but the former frontman of the Dead Kennedys, Jello Biafra, just shows up out of nowhere. And after the whole set was done and everything, one of my friends who were hanging out with us comes to me like, dude, Jello Biafra is here. I'm like, what? I was like, dude, Jello Biafra, the Dead Kennedys is here. He's really here. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. And we actually got to talk with him a bit, make conversation with him. And I actually got to shake his hand too.
Nice.
Actually one of my bandmates in that group actually took a picture of me shaking his hand
Awesome.
and all that, and just
Yeah.
like, oh wow.
That's great.
It was just a treasured moment too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a very
Yeah.
legend in these parts in the Bay Area and worldwide. I mean,
Yeah.
even later on did stuff with Ministry,
Yeah.
with Lard, and
Yep.
I saw one of his best bands, Guantanamo School of Medicine at Bottom of the Hill.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I have
nice.
to say,
San
it
Francisco,
was
yeah.
better than the current Dead Kennedys. I'll say that on record.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Lots of great influences. And the first time I met you, you were wearing a Metallica jersey
Yes.
from the 72
That's right.
seasons.
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
stood out. It was a yellow and black attack, kind of like my worship rockers, Striper.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are into that, but I love those kind of bands too. A lot of bands who are into rocking and praising Jesus at the same time. So
Yes.
right on, and that's Alter Bridge too. So going back to that, so you're also a guitar teacher, right? And I was really impressed with that anytime because I go back to being a guitar fanatic. Not that I play, but the days of Mike Varney and Shrapnel Records and guys like Jason Becker, Tony McAlpine, Vinnie Moore.
Yeah.
If you all don't know, look it up on YouTube. These are shredder guitar players
yeah.
that have like a rhythm section. That's the best of the best, and their guitar work is like out of this world. Greg Howe, Marty Friedman,
Oh,
Becker,
yeah.
all those
Of
guys. So
Cacophony, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm very familiar with Shrapnel Records.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was getting more into like, a lot of big shredders like Marty Freeman and Jason Becker, and I found out about their project Cacophony, like it was just
yeah,
really a whole nother experience.
jaw dropping, mind blowing stuff.
Yeah, and I think it was like around the time when I was like getting into Yngwie Malmsteen, where I was starting to get more into exposed to, like the more neoclassical metal stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. So you have students, and what do they look to gain knowledge of your guitar stuff, and I'm sure you're proud to see them progress too.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, currently I've been working at School of Rock, for like nearly, actually this month, up to 3 years now.
Oh, nice.
And I started working there at the time when I was just finishing up my performance degree at Cal State East Bay. And, I just decided that I need to just get some work before, I needed to graduate, just so, I could just be able to easily transition over to that. And, I've had a wide range of students from, starting at a pretty young age, preteen, 8 to 9 years old, and coming up to like 13 years, like 15, 16, high school age, all that. And there I've had like students over the years that are like so dedicated and so determined with like getting the instrument out of it, and it just really puts a lot of heart and pride to see like how much they can grow as as like a guitar player and as a musician itself, because just seeing them like take the stage as they play, it's very surreal experience to have. And to see them grow with that too.
And even, of course,
and just taking that opportunity to like show them like what I know as well too, and show them like what I'm into, what influences I've had, like from their perspective when I was their age too. It's it's very surreal.
Yeah. And you get a lot of joy, I'm sure, out of that, to see them, going to different stages and their journey, their musical journey.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, very cool. Give people the information in case they want to, hook up with this School of Rock or get lessons from you, and send them an email or something or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I've always been working at School of Rock in San Ramon. I mean, if you always ever want to contact them, you can always call the number. You can always find School of Rock on Google.
Google it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can Google it up. I mean, all the information's there. You can check out, School of Rock website and get all the information about the teachers and the owners as well too. They're very great people to work with. A lot of amazing teachers I've worked with outside of guitar. Like we have drums, we teach bass, teach vocals, keyboard.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's some students. We have some instructors that are dedicated to teaching other instruments outside of that too.
Cool. And I have to mention, if you don't know, in the Bay Area, San Ramon is a pretty great place out by Danville, and that area, Blackhawk, right? Yeah, all that stuff. So yeah, cool. So getting back to Face Reveal, how long have y'all been together, and where can people hear certain tunes all over the interwebs?
We've been a band since, if you're looking for an official date, we basically came together on June 22nd of 2022. I had just finished at CSU East Bay. That's actually how I met Apocalypse before we officially became a band. And what happened is that he, of course, knew our older drummer since high school. And there was one other student, the individual we mentioned that lives all the way on the East Coast, specifically Georgia. He was also taking classes at CSU East Bay. However, I believe he was a geology major. And he was in
engineering.
I thought it was geology, but it was engineering.
But yeah. But yeah, like a friend of ours, Isha, who was in the music department program with us, she told me about our bandmate Jacob, the other guitar player.
Yes.
And he said, hey, like, he's into like some of the same music that you guys are into. Maybe he could like, hook you guys up and see how it goes. And I got to see him like play with this other group that he was with on campus.
It was Ultrasonic Current.
Yeah. It was like part of the theater department, I think, at the time. And I could definitely see like his influence like into metal, and he's into Hendrix as well too.
Oh, especially.
And when I got to officially talk with him about like our sound and our influences and all that, it's like it just felt like a spark right there.
It clicked, and eventually Alex then introduced me to Jacob, and then Jacob then got introduced to our older drummer Nick.
Yeah.
And what happened was, of course, we started coming up with more music. We started sharing our ideas, our stories. We even shared our, let's say, branded forms of entertainment. I mean, there would be very funny. I think it was parodies that he would find on YouTube, Jacob.
But outside of that,
outside of that,
we just started hanging out all together as a unit, and the more we started, jamming together to like our influences, like we were doing like a lot of like Sum 41 and all that, or like Guns N' Roses, Metallica.
Green Day. Yep.
Yeah, we decided, let's make it a band. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it official, and then of course we would, like I said, officially form on June 22nd of 2022.
Yeah.
We would start trying to advertise our image. We would start trying to write songs. We were trying to book shows. Our first show was the open house at CSU East Bay. I think it was October 20.